She doesn't need to raise her voice. She doesn't need to argue. All she has to do is go quiet. And suddenly, you can't stop thinking about her. That silence burns louder than any words could. You start wondering what she's thinking. You replay old texts in your mind. You scroll back through photos. You start to feel that twist in your chest, the one that whispers, "Did I mess it up? Did I lose her?" But here's the truth most men never see. But before if you recognize these 5 shifts in your own story, that's the sign you've been under silent control. But if you truly want real connection instead of quiet manipulation, it's time to break that pattern. Stay with me all the way to the end, because I'll show you how to break it clean and start building a relationship that actually strengthens you. And one small request before we dive in: if you're new here, hit the like button right now. It helps this message reach more men who need it. All right, let's start. She's not just being quiet. She's communicating through silence. It's not about what she says, it's about what you feel when she says nothing. You see, silence is a language. And some women speak it fluently, not because they're evil, not because they want to destroy you, but because on a deep psychological level, they know how your mind reacts to space, to uncertainty, to the unknown. And that's where her quiet power hides. She's not just being quiet. She's communicating through silence. It's not about what she says. It's about what you feel when she says nothing. You see, silence is a language, and some women speak it fluently. Not because they're evil, not because they want to destroy you, but because on a deep psychological level, they know how your mind reacts to space, to uncertainty, to the unknown. And that's where her quiet power hides. Let's slow down for a second and lay it out clearly. You, as a man, are wired to chase what feels uncertain. From evolution to everyday life, the male brain reacts to unresolved tension. That's why cliffhangers pull you in. That's why mysterious people seem interesting. That's why a woman going silent after being warm and close ties your thoughts in knots. Your mind says, something's missing. I need to fix it. But her silence tells you, without words, you are not in control anymore. That's the emotional hook. It's not manipulation every time, but it is psychological. See, women are taught, in subtle ways, to express emotion through emotion, not confrontation. So when she goes quiet, it's her version of sending a signal. But she also senses that you'll feel that silence even louder than her words. In communication psychology, silence creates tension loops. Your brain hates unfinished stories, so it replays, analyzes, imagines. The more you think, the more power moves to her side. She might not even plan this consciously. Sometimes it's instinct. Other times it's strategy. But either way, that invisible pull begins. You start wondering how to get her attention back. You start overanalyzing little things she once said. And slowly, without realizing it, you move from being the man she desired to being the man chasing her validation. Pause there. That's the exact moment where power shifts. Not because you care, but because she can see that you've lost your calm. And women notice energy more than words. When you start texting too fast, giving too much, apologizing for things that didn't even need an apology, you show her that you're no longer leading with certainty. She sees that she got inside your mind. Sometimes that silence is her way of testing your emotional stability. It's not even cruel, it's subconscious curiosity. She wants to see, does he stay grounded when things get confusing, or does he crumble? And most men crumble. They turn that silence into noise. They chase closure instead of composure. They feed the silence with desperation. But here's what nobody told you. Silence only controls you when you give it meaning it doesn't deserve. When you start attaching your worth to her response, you start handing her your power. And when that happens, your masculine energy goes from attractive to anxious. Now we dig deeper. You'll see the exact inner process that flips your focus and makes her seem like the center of your emotional world. We'll break it down step by step, the psychological shifts that you can not only understand but reverse. Number 1, the shift from calm to confused. It always starts small. She doesn't reply right away. She cancels plans with a quiet, maybe next time. She pulls back her energy, and suddenly, you can feel it, like a temperature drop in the room. You tell yourself it's nothing. that she's just busy. But your body knows something changed. That's the first psychological shift when your focus moves from yourself to her silence. You start thinking more, checking your phone more, replaying the last conversation in your head. The logic in your mind says, relax. But emotion doesn't listen to logic, it listens to loss. She's not texting? The brain interprets that as danger. The same part of the brain that lights up from physical pain also lights up when you feel ignored. That's why emotional rejection hurts so much. It's not weakness, it's biology. Women sense this energy change faster than we think. When she sees you becoming uneasy, her subconscious reads it like this: he's no longer calm, he's chasing. And whether she means to or not, this flips the balance. Number 2, the power of absence. Let's be honest. When she retreats, everything she did before starts echoing twice as loud in your head. Her laugh, her kindness, her little details. They all become amplified. That's the second shift. Her absence becomes power. You ever notice how an empty space seems louder than a crowded one? The silence after laughter? The quiet after a deep conversation? That emptiness has a weight. When she steps back, that emptiness becomes emotional gravity. You start trying to fill it with thoughts, with reasons, with effort. And in doing so, you give her silence identity. You feed it. The more attention you feed it, the stronger it grows. Men often think love is proven through effort. So you write longer texts, explain your feelings, try to fix whatever you think went wrong. But emotional power doesn't work that way. The more you try to push, the more you signal need. And need rarely inspires desire. From her perspective, your reaction tells the story. If you hold your center, she feels your depth. If you lose your balance, she feels your fear. And fear, no matter how well hidden, dulls attraction. We've already uncovered 2 of the powerful shifts that show how her silence starts to control you, but there are still 5 more waiting that will completely change how you see this game between attraction and power. Stay till the end, because in the final part we'll reveal how to protect yourself from being emotionally controlled and rebuild real strength from the inside out. And a small request: if you've learned something new so far, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment sharing whether you control your life or she does. And don't forget to like this video. It helps the message reach more men who need it. Alright, let's dive into the next 3 shifts. Number 3. The mirror effect here is where it gets deeper. Women are emotional mirrors. They reflect back the energy they feel, not the words they hear. If you become tense and uncertain, her mirror reflects distance. If you stay grounded and non-reactive, her mirror reflects respect and curiosity. This is one of the hidden truths about connection. People respond to how we make them feel about themselves. When she goes quiet, what she's unconsciously asking is, can he still hold emotional space for both of us, even when I pull away? Most men can't. And that's not failure, it's conditioning. You've been raised to believe that solving problems wins hearts. That effort equals care. That persistence equals love. But emotional attraction isn't built on fixing. It's built on feeling safe in each other's presence. Think about it. When you stay calm, grounded, patient, you're silently saying, I'm not addicted to your response. I enjoy your company, but I don't need it to feel whole. That silent confidence cuts through her quiet. It tells her something rare. You see her, but you are not defined by her. And that's when the emotional current begins to shift back your way. Because now, in her silence, she begins to feel something to curiosity. She starts thinking, why isn't he chasing? Did I lose his attention? Has he changed? That's the power of emotional independence. It's not an act. It's not playing games. It's learning the balance between caring deeply and staying solid. Now, we'll uncover the next stages, the deeper emotional shifts that turn tension into attraction and change silence from a weapon into your teacher. Number 4. The hook of uncertainty. This is where the mind war begins. When she stays quiet, your imagination starts writing stories faster than she ever could. You begin to ask yourself questions that have no answers. Did I do something wrong? Is she losing interest? Was she ever really into me? This mental loop is the real trap, because your brain isn't just reacting to her, it's reacting to your own uncertainty. You chase clarity because uncertainty feels unsafe. But here's what's fascinating. The same uncertainty that drives you crazy can also build attraction when you learn to hold it without fear. That's what confident men do differently. They don't need every situation to be clear right away. They can let mystery exist without trying to control it. From her side, that calmness signals strength. It tells her, this man doesn't break when things don't go his way. And believe it or not, that quiet steadiness is more powerful than any perfect line you could ever send. You don't chase understanding, you become understanding itself. Number 5, the emotional chase. Let's flip the scene. Earlier, you were running after her attention. Now imagine you've stopped running. You've gone back to your gym, your work, your hobbies, whatever makes you feel alive. You're no longer checking your phone every hour. You've stopped feeding her silence with thought. This is when something subtle happens. She starts wondering why you're not wondering. That gentle confusion in her mind. Did he move on? Did I lose him? Creates the same emotional tension you once felt. Except now it's on her side. This isn't revenge, it's balance. Because when you stop chasing, she finally sees you again, not her reflection in your need. Many women don't consciously plan this reversal, but when they feel a man's energy withdraw with calm rather than anger, it triggers curiosity and even respect. Your stillness becomes the new mystery. Number 6, the respect factor. Here's a truth few men hear straight. A woman can admire a charming guy, but she respects a grounded one. Charm can make her smile. Groundedness makes her safe. When you stop reacting emotionally to her silence, you silently tell her, I trust myself. That's emotional leadership. You're not playing mind games and you're not pretending not to care. You're simply living from a place of inner stability, and respect always flows towards stability. That's when she starts seeing your quiet confidence as rare. Because in a world where most men overshare, overtext, and overthink, being centered becomes magnetic. She feels your strength not through loud words, but through peaceful presence. You show, without needing to say, that your emotions have order. Now the attraction deepens, not from manipulation, but from growth. Number 7, the inner turnaround. The final shift isn't about her at all. It's about you finally realizing that you were never powerless. Her silence just revealed the noise inside you, the insecurity, the fear of loss, the need for validation. And through that, you're given a choice. Keep seeking answers outside yourself or find peace within. When you start to see that you can control your thoughts, your focus, your daily actions, you stop being a passenger. You become the driver again. Your conversations, your dates, your energy all start to change because you no longer broadcast need. You walk into rooms differently. You text differently. You even breathe differently. Because now your self-worth isn't hooked on someone else's silence. It comes from your own voice. And that's when something wild happens. Women feel it. They sense that you respect yourself, that your attention is valuable, that your peace isn't cheap. And that's when attraction turns real. Not because you chased it, but because you became it. Now next, we move into the emotional buildup, where we acknowledge the pain men feel, the confusion they hide, and how turning that pain into strength becomes your hidden power. Facing the pain without shame. Let's be honest. You've stayed awake staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out what went wrong. You've looked at your phone and felt that sting when her name didn't light up the screen. You've told yourself to move on, but your heart whispers, she doesn't even care. That's real. It's not weakness. It's not being dramatic. It's human attachment. Men are taught to stay tough, keep quiet, push it down, act like nothing hurts. But inside, you're carrying unanswered questions that eat at your peace. Here's the truth most people won't tell you. You're not crazy for caring. You're not broken for missing her. You're simply feeling what happens when love meets confusion. The strongest thing you can do is admit it to yourself. Because that moment of honesty is where healing starts. Understanding why it hit so hard. When someone you liked pulls back, your brain reads it almost like loss. It feels physical because the same chemistry that bonds you also feeds your sense of security. So when that bond weakens, your whole body reacts. You're not addicted to her voice. You're addicted to what her voice made you feel: wanted, seen, hopeful. That's why her silence hits deeper. It's not about her words, it's about your memory of connection. And man, that's heavy. Especially when you gave your effort honestly. You didn't play games. You built something you thought was real. Now it feels like you're standing in emotional fog, half wanting closure, half wanting to rewind time. But remember this: every man who's ever grown into strength has walked through the same fog. The hidden lesson inside the hurt. This pain, as sharp as it feels, is showing you something priceless. It's showing you what you value. It's showing you that your love is real. And that means when the right woman meets you, she'll feel love with depth, not performance. That's your edge. Most people hide behind masks you actually felt. The trick now isn't to stop feeling, it's to start mastering those feelings. When you learn to hold pain without letting it control you, you become unstoppable. Because no silence, no rejection, no cold shoulder can shake a man who's found peace inside himself. That's not numbness, that's power. Seeing the pattern differently. Until now, you might have seen her quiet as punishment, but look closer. It's information. It's telling you where you attached too soon. It's showing you where you gave too much of your energy without knowing if she'd earned it. It's reminding you that love doesn't equal losing yourself. The challenge isn't to harden your heart, it's to wake it up. Now you're learning that your worth doesn't rise or fall with someone's attention. Her silence doesn't define your value. It just reflects which parts of yourself you need to strengthen. And as painful as it is, that reflection is the greatest teacher you'll ever meet. Respecting your journey. You're not behind. You're not less of a man for feeling lost. Every man who eventually radiates confidence has walked through heartbreak. They just turned the ache into wisdom. So respect the version of yourself that cared. But now, respect the version that's learning to let go. Because that's where your transformation begins. Not when she texts back, but when you stop waiting for her to. When your peace stops depending on her response, your life finally starts moving again. Turning silence into strength. Here's where everything changes. Until now, her silence felt like a wall. Now it becomes a mirror, a way to see yourself more clearly than ever before. When you stop reacting, something subtle begins to happen. She no longer decides your mood, your pace, or your worth. You decide it. Her quiet stops being control and starts being freedom, because silence isn't empty, it's space. And when you fill that space with focus, growth, and calm, you turn what once hurt you into the very thing that frees you. Imagine this: she doesn't text back for days. Before, you'd spiral, questions running wild. Now, you look at your phone, smile a little, and move on with your day. She texts again when she feels that shift, because energy doesn't lie. When a man moves from seeking to standing, when he becomes a source of calm instead of chaos, people feel it. You stop chasing, she starts wondering, but deeper than that, you start breathing again. You reclaim your power. Why self-respect changes everything. Let's get one thing straight. Respect isn't about ego. It's about peace. You earn respect from women and from life itself when your words and actions align. When you say what you mean, when you protect your focus, when you walk away from drama instead of begging for attention. That's when you build quiet power. And quiet power is the kind that lasts. Most men chase love to feel whole. The evolved man creates love from wholeness. You don't need approval, you offer presence. You don't need reassurance, you offer direction. You don't wait for her to validate you. You validate yourself through growth, progress, and purpose. That's when women feel something much stronger than attraction. They feel admiration. Because confidence born from self-respect is impossible to fake. The shift she didn't expect. Here's the twist. When you finally stop chasing her silence, you start controlling the one thing you were supposed to control all along: your focus. That quiet shift sends a wave through her psyche. She feels the loss of your attention, not with panic, but with curiosity. She starts asking herself, what changed in him? Did I misjudge him? Why does he feel so calm now? And that's when real interest reignites. not through words but through energy. She begins to sense that you're no longer the man who needed her response to feel whole. You've become the man who appreciates connection but remains unshaken without it. That's the moment you flip the entire dynamic. You've moved from being emotionally pulled to being emotionally centered. And no one can control a centered man. From controlled to creator, you've seen the pattern, you've felt the confusion, and now you understand the psychology behind it. But more importantly, you know this: silence only had power because it echoed the doubts inside you. Once those doubts turn into discipline, that echo fades. You start building instead of waiting. You show through action that your life is moving. New habits, new focus, new self-respect. And here's what's beautiful. When you commit to growth, everything else starts to align. Better people appear. Your body language changes. Your eyes carry clarity instead of need. You don't have to chase love anymore. You attract it by living with purpose. So from this moment, protect your peace, value your time, and never hand your emotional steering wheel to anyone. A woman who truly values you will never want to control you. She'll want to walk beside you. And you'll know exactly who she is because you'll be calm enough to see her clearly. You've done the hard part. You've recognized the game. Now play life with truth and direction. Stand tall, keep your silence sacred, and watch how everything starts to shift back in your favor. If you've watched this video all the way through, you now hold the knowledge, the real understanding of how silent control works and how to break free from it. But remember this truth: knowledge alone changes nothing. Without action, you're just another guy who knows. With action, you become a man who grows. So take what you've learned and live it. Stay calm when silence tests you. Lead yourself before you try to lead anyone else. And if some parts didn't click, rewatch this video until it sinks in so deep that no one can ever throw you off balance again. And before you go, check out this next video. It's going to take what you learned here and show you exactly how to build real confidence and emotional power.